Hi, everybody. It's me, Carol, from Healthcare Potholes with Christian Faith. I'm going to talk about ongoing ways of the Lord. Um, the other day, I came home and Wednesday after an exhausting day. Um, I got up early and was greeted by my brother saying my dog wasn't doing good, my oldest dog. He had a stroke a couple years ago, and he recovered fully from it and was doing fine. And for some reason, when he got up, he was very lame, having a hard time getting around. And so I yelled out, "Give him a glucosamine chondroitin early and keep him on it for twice a day and see what happens." So that's what we did. And he seems to be doing fine. He had a little stomach upset, and I think that was most of his problem, so he's doing a lot better. Um, Sometimes they get out there in the backyard and they eat things they shouldn't. That's what he did. So, anyhow, as I sat down in the evening to relax after a busy day, I heard Tucker Carlton that there was a down in Asbury, Kentucky, at the campus down there. They have a church on campus, the Asbury University down there, that people were just staying and praying and praising Jesus and God, and people were witnessing, and it was going on now it's day 10. When he was doing his reporting, it was 8 and 9 days. And the president of the student body came out and she said, "We have never had this before. This is the first time we've ever had this. And we go to church 3 times a week down here, and we have prayer and praises and a sermon." And she says someone got up and started witnessing. People just stayed on and stayed on and stayed on. They were so um, intrigued by what this guy had to say for his witnessing that it just caused a massive prayer and praise um, situation to go on at their church. And apparently, the guy had a rough time in life and he turned his life over to Christ. And he was talking about what happened and how he did it, and people were just amazed. And she also mentioned that her, I don't want to say students, but her generation is totally not knowing Christ, grew up without not knowing Christ. And when I went to church groups and things back in the 70s and 80s and 60s, I mean, my parents made sure we went to Bible school, that we were in youth groups and different things like that. They felt that was important. They made sure we went to churches on Sunday, to our church. And my dad sang in the choir, so and we had Lenten dinners that we went to and socialized at, and brought a dish to pass, and it was a lot of community fun. You got to know your community that way, and Christ was there in the center. It was started off with a prayer, and people talked about their relationship with Christ over dinner, and it was kind of a fun thing. And then the church group had dinners that they did, reverse dinners and different things like that, where they went around to people's homes and got to know the people in the choir better. And it was all good stuff that you learned. And so God is really moving. When you hear things like this, you know that God is moving and He is here and moving. people's lives in the right direction. And, I'm glad to know that this girl's generation will now get to know Jesus Christ and what Jesus Christ is doing in people's lives, because it is awesome. It is awesome when he does things like this in people's lives. And so I want to say that it is still going on. People are flying in from Australia and UK and England to go to this, I want to say, revival. There is a Christian revival coming up on, I don't know if it's movies or TV, coming up around February 24th, 5th, 6th, somewhere in there. It's called Jesus Revival, so look for it. If you're interested, and follow it by all means. I just wanted to bring this information about Asbury, Kentucky out. They don't want any news media there. They don't want to upset what's going on with the faith, because you can really strongly feel Christ's presence down there, they said. And I believe it. I believe it. If you can feel Christ's presence, that's a wonderful thing. And I know he was around here in September at my house, healing my tooth. And he, through the Holy Spirit, healed my knee. And I'm rejoicing in the fact I don't have any knee pain when I go to do things on that left knee. It's doing a lot better. And I just can't thank him enough for that, because that was really, really hurting. Now, if I could get my brother to believe in his faith and heal him, that would even be better. And I keep praying to God. And I was 1.4 on Friday and on Monday, and now I went up to 1.5 on Wednesday. I want to talk a little bit about things. I want to ask everybody to keep a family and a bus driver in your prayers. I don't know their name. I know that what happened. Where I go to infusion at the hospital, there's a hospital, a school that's elementary and middle, and then they have a community center. And it's like a strip of businesses, and then across the street are houses. And the street's just a two street, one way and the other way. And the houses are across on the other side, and then down at the corner on the other side, and then there's a little strip mall of a pizza place and a little stop and go store for people to go in and buy milk and bread and maybe some meat or something, some cold cuts. So it's a little tiny store at the end, and then they have the pizza place, and then they have, I think, a smoke shop, something like that. But it's a little tiny thing. So it's all built up around by houses. They're building in the park bigger houses. But all these other houses are really tiny, tiny houses built back in probably the 50s and 60s. So you can imagine how tiny they are. And but it's still a very loving community. And up around the corner is the police department and the bus area where the buses park for the night. And then they have across the street the city offices, or DTE, I think, is in there. Where they do like the snow plows and things. So it's kind of a small community. It's a little bit broke up, but people are very nice in Wayne, Michigan. And so I went Wednesday for my IV. I got to go today, so this will be a short video clip. And the information girl, came over to me while I was waiting for my blood to be processed, and she said, "We had a lot of excitement here on Tuesday." I said, "Really? What happened?" She said, a 12-year-old boy lost his shoe in the middle of the road, and he went back to get it, and he got hit by the school bus and got killed. So the school was letting out and buses were doing their thing, and the school bus driver did not see him come back to get a shoe, and he hit him and killed him. So the bus driver is devastated. The family of the bus driver is devastated. The boy that was killed's family is devastated. The students are devastated. The teachers are devastated. That whole area is really hurting right now. And as I came in to get my IV, I saw an area that they usually do for when people die, where they put like stuffed animals or different things. And I said to my brother, I said, something happened there. There's stuffed animals alongside the road. He said, well, I didn't see it. And I said, he said, because I'm paying attention to my driving, and school had already been in session. But you never know if there's a straggly student that has to come across the road to go to school that's running really late. And so it's one of those things you just kind of creep through there and really keep your eyes open. And but when you're in a bus and you're up high, you wouldn't see a 12-year-old going back for his shoe that he lost off his foot. So, um, that's how my morning was greeted, with a sick dog and finding out about this boy being killed. And I can remember way back, I started my infusions back around 2007, and have been going that long every other day. And it's very dragging on you after a while. And I remember the students making a box for us people over at the infusion center, and it was a little tiny blanket to cover over because it's very cold in that room. It's a lead-based room, and it's very cold, and it has to be lead-based because of the chemos that they're giving, and they don't want it to go out into the main hospital. So they are given the IVs in that room, and they brought us a little blanket, some chips, a candy bar, and pop, and things that were maybe Fritos might be in there, or different. All the boxes were slightly different. Fruit juice, different things like that. And they had called and talked to our nurse to see what would be okay for people to have that were on chemos and medications for the most part. And that's what they boxed in the lunch, in the little box. So everybody got one. They found out how many people were getting infusions, and we all got a box. And I thought that was so touching. So we all sent a thank you over to the schoolroom. And as I sat there on my computer looking at things, I immediately stopped and started to pray for the bus driver, the students, the family, the school, the teachers, and everything. And he may have even been one of the boys that worked on those boxes. So my heart goes out to the school. Oh, that was a tough one. And but then my brother and I came home after my IV, and I told him about what happened. And we had called my nephew to find out what appliance would be good because he sells small appliances, and he told me. And so we went up there and to where um, there's a lot of his stores like he sells appliances at. So we went up there to shop, and he told me I could use his discount. Of course, I went in. It was Family and Friends Day. And I told the guy my dryer had died and I was here to get a replacement. And my dryer was 55 years old, so I'm not too happy about having to buy a replacement. I was hoping to be able to get it through my life, and that didn't happen. So I said, I don't want any China made products. I'm totally against China for, they're up to no good. They clearly are. They're buying up our property and they're sending private police over here and opening up police stations run by the Chinese. That's got to stop. I mean, Biden is clearly in bed with China government, and that's not good. That's the worst thing that could have happened. So anyhow, I went in and I said I want no China products. I just want American made. Period. So they drew me to the aisle of American made. They have an aisle of Chinese made, and they have an aisle of, I don't know, whatever. Nothing I want. So he took me over to where the American made products are. And I said, well, I want a GE. I don't want anything else but a GE. I might look at Whirlpool, compare prices, but that's it. And he tried to show me a hot point, but I had a hot point out in Arizona and I wasn't happy with it. So I went with, and someone had mentioned a Mana. No, didn't like that one either. So I went with a GE, and I love it. The way it looks and the drum size and everything. It's a 7.2 cubic feet drum, so it's a pretty good size. And he said, you'll be real happy with this. So the price on the ticket was $7.69 and I got it for $4.99, which I thought was good. And then the guy over at the desk said, by the way, Carol, do you know that your warranty expires within 30 days and you can use this money that's on the warranty that you have towards a new dishwasher that was going to be used on the dishwasher for you? You can use it towards your dryer and get all that off of the dryer. So I got $409 off my dryer. So it was like only $90. And then I had to pay for the hookups that needed to be with that particular dryer for the guy when he comes to hook it up to my gas line and my other lines. And so I'm like really happy about that. I'm like going, wow. So, and if I don't use those hookups and he can use what's there now, then I can go and get my, I can return it and get that money back off my card. So that may even be better. I don't know what he's got to do. He's going to come Saturday, so I'll keep you posted on that. But right now, I just had to pay $159, which is great. And taxes was included in that. I mean, you can't beat that to go out and dryer shop on that deal. I mean, that is like the best deal around. So then I went to, we got that done. And the guy that comes in to hook it up showed up. And it's $189 cash or credit. So my brother and I are going to stop and figure that out at the bank on the way home today. And then we're just, I mean, I'm tickled pink that that's what that costs. And so I took out a year warranty. So I have a year warranty on it because they told me that parts are only good for a year. And then um, from there, I heard about, I told you about God coming and healing my knee and my big toe that I let go over to him on Sunday. By Tuesday, my knee pain was gone and my toe pain was gone. I had no more. I was getting like shooting pain, like neuropathy pains down in my toe, and it felt like an ingrown toenail. So I kept looking at it, taking my sock off, looking, and it wasn't ingrown, it wasn't red, it wasn't inflamed, like going, must be neuropathy. So I turned it over to God and I turned my knee where I had fallen in the garage on a lip in my garage and had hurt my knee. And I knew it was either bruised or chipped or something, but it would go away. Well, week 3, me and that thing was really hurting, and I finally on Sunday evening prayed to God. I said, "You came and healed my tooth. Will you please come down and heal my knee and my toe? I'm in a lot of pain and I can't handle any more pain." And so, and My hands are really hurting because I haven't had a neuropathy treatment in a little bit, and I'm due to go back, and I had to miss it due to my oil change, and I'm really hurting as well. So if you could, come down and, because sometimes when I have a neuropathy treatment, I have a bad time coming off of them, and I get pain with those. And it was one of those weeks where I had a lot of pain and just turned it over to God. And now I just have the tightness, and I'd rather that than anything. So he's working. He's working. He's moving. If he healed my knee pain and my toe pain and my hand pain, he is moving. And the fact that I prayed to him about my dryer, I sat down as I was getting ready on Wednesday after I checked on my dog and got my dog going in the right direction. I said, I don't know whether to go out and pray over my dryer like my tooth, or should I, you know, I'll just pray over my finances, and maybe you can help me see what I need to do, because I think a 55-year-old dryer and can't get parts is pretty serious. I don't know that we can revive it, God. It'd be nice, but I don't know. If you think we can revive it, let me know. I'll pray over it. Well, all I kept hearing is, you'll be fine. Just go shop for one. You'll be fine. And I did, and I got it for $159. You just can't beat that deal. You just can't beat that. So I was elated. So my brother texted over my nephew, because he's got him and his texts, and he texted him over, and he told him that we had got one and for a really good deal, and about the deal, and he put his thumb up because he was at work. So anyhow, it's good to have a nephew like that. And I'm sure my other nephew will come around. He will realize that there is a movement going on, that Jesus is getting in people's lives and making them really move. And I pray that that's what happens with my nephew. I know he believes, and you know, I don't know how much following he is doing, but I think he was a lot like me, where he knew that God was around and he believed in him, but he just didn't have that fullness in his heart that Jesus has given me. And when he gets it, he'll realize Aunt wasn't wrong. Aunt was doing the right thing with her video clips. And I'm bringing people to the Lord. I'm hoping people are listening to my stories and saying, wow, if you're going through any difficulty, I know that I want the family that lost their 12-year-old son to have comfort and peace, and know that he more than likely is up with Jesus as a child. So, the bus driver, I can't imagine. I had a teacher when I was going through medical assisting training way back when, working towards my nursing degree. And she had went out, got into her car, and was getting ready to leave to go somewhere, and didn't know that the 2-year-old girl from next door was sitting behind her car. She backed out. She killed the 2-year-old. Dragged her a little ways till someone said something. She didn't even know she was on the back of her pickup bumper. And it's just, wow, so sad. She was off almost 6 months, and yeah, receiving treatment for it. So you don't intend on doing that, and it was just, terrible. I still remember it. And I think back how lucky I was as a child. My mom had, patent leather shoes were the in things when I was a kid, and they were slippier than slippery. I mean, you'd be walking down the hallway and your feet would go out from under you and you'd fall down and, hurt your rump and whatever else. And they were terrible shoes. They really needed to be outlawed, those patent leather shoes. And my mom had bought me a new pair of patent leather shoes and a dress for Easter, and we went off to church. And it was one of the Easters we didn't go back to Buffalo to see her father and her mother. And we had a gravel parking lot at our church. The church had just been built and finished up and was fairly new. And um, I think I was probably, I'm going to say, four, about 4 years old. If, somewhere in there, about four. And we were coming out, and I was holding my mom's hand. And all of a sudden, I went down as we were walking out of church and down onto the ground and under a car that was driving real slow to pick up their kids. My body just missed the back wheel, or I too would have been run over and killed. And I said something in church at my mom's funeral about her holding my hand and falling out there in the gravel parking lot and sliding under the DeMud's car. It was the DeMud, Mrs. DeMud. And she had no intention of running me over. I mean, it was an accident. But I had gotten to where I was like in between the wheels of the car. Luckily, when I slid down under, my body was in between the wheels, but I still could have been hit by that back wheel the way I was. And she heard me scream, and my mom screamed, and she immediately stopped her car and didn't go anywhere and turned it off so it wouldn't move. And the ushers at church were able to get me dragged out from under there. Of course, my dress was ruined and my shoes were scraped up, and it was, scary. It was very scary. So I can imagine what those kids felt. I think it hit me really hard because of that reason. And then several years later, my friend and I were on the expressway on the way home from a movie to take her home, and a semi truck had hit a kid running across the expressway and killed him. Um, he was alive for a little while, but he was later pronounced dead at the hospital. But it was scary. It was scary too, and my heart went out to the family. So it and the driver of the pickup, not pickup truck, but semi truck, and the 18-wheeler that hit him. So it's scary. It's scary when that happens, and so we all have to just slow down, slow our driving down, pay attention, watch what we're doing. Um, but yeah, at my mom's funeral, I mentioned about, what happened out in the parking lot, and I was glad to see that it was gravel when we started to go back to church. And one of the ushers says, "I remember. That was you many years later. Wow." They knew, but it was good to know that there was still an usher there that remembered pulling me out from under the car, and I thanked him profusely. But you just, wow. It says I've been going to that church for a long time. We were there, then we left, and then we came back and started back up again. And it's like we never left. And if I was to go back up to the Fenton United Methodist Church where I grew up in, pretty much from second grade on, they would still, some of them might still be there and recognize me and stuff. And So it's all good. I mean, God is moving. I mean, he's really moving. Now, on another front, before I close, I know I'm getting up there to almost 30 minutes. The people down in East Palestine, keep them in your prayers. And I guess that toxic plume is going up to Youngstown, Ohio, and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So keep that whole area in your prayers that the government will do something. I mean, OSHA needs to be there helping, and the EPA needs to be there helping, and all those people need to be there helping get that site cleaned up and everything, and that area cleaned up. Now that it's spreading, they got a real big mess on their hands. So we got to be praying to God that they get it all cleaned up and the people stay safe and don't get cancer. But I have my doubts in looking at things online. And there is a site that says how to clean up vinyl chloride, and it'll be going offline on the 28th. So please look at it quickly and make copies of it if you live down in that area, so you know how to get it cleaned up and that they're following what they should be doing. Just heeding the warning of what I've read online if you haven't already. So make a copy of it so you have it, because it will be taken down, which I think is very interesting. So keeping you all in my prayers, that it'll get cleaned up. I feel for you. I would get out of that area for quite a while and send the bill to Biden at the White House if it was me. So, in Buttigieg, he needs to have the bill too. So go stay at a nice hotel and send him the bill. And send him the bill for all your food that you had to incur while you were out staying away from your house after this. And also send it to the railroad company. We had a derailment here yesterday in Van Buren Township, which is right next door. I have train tracks that run through basically our backyard over here, across the street. And that train was on there, and it was empty cars, thank God, but one had agriculture products. So I don't know. It crashed down near Haggerty, which is a road down the road. So I don't know. I'm kind of wondering. I may buy bottled water for a while and drink bottled water. Um, but they never, you know, said anything. They never went around and knocked on doors, so I don't know if it was livestock in there or what. They just said it was agriculture stuff, so maybe it was livestock and we'll be okay. We're going to have to pass some laws about what can be hauled on train tracks, because they're just flying too fast and too many dangerous things going on. So, okay, maybe our senators will do something creative about it. So, okay, everybody, have a good one. Stay in unison with God. Pray to God. Keep Him in the forefront of your life. Know that there's a revival in Asbury, Kentucky going on. And there's going to be something about Jesus revival at the movie theater or on TV somewhere. And I heard a blurb about it this February, between the 24th and somewhere in there to the 26th. So I can't remember which date it was. But look for it online or at the movie theaters, and know that Jesus is moving. When there's revivals going on and stuff like that, Jesus is moving. So, um, love everybody, hugs to everybody, and stay safe.